Waterloo is a major railway terminus stationed in the London Borough of Lambeth. It is in the Travel Card Zone 1, as are all my fabulous monuments and sites of wonder in the greatest city of the world, most probably. Yes, this is my W for Waterloo Station, part of Pinkietessa's A-Z of London, and you've got it, PAZL for short. Waterloo is the busiest railway station in the world. Okay, will you go for Great Britain? Yes? Good. Ticket sales for London Waterloo are calculated at some 88 million passengers. Now, if you include just the passing through travelling sorts, then the total rockets to something only God knows. It's second only to the Gare du Nord for business in Europe. It has more platforms and a greater floor area than any other station in the UK, except Clapham Junction, which is 4 miles. That's 4 miles down the track, not 4 miles long. Blimey, don't be silly. For travelling purposes, you can take a train to various lines in Surrey, Berkshire, Hampshire, southwest England, and the southwestern suburbs of London. In the long-distance department, you can end up in Portsmouth, Southampton, Bournemouth, Poole, and Weymouth, all south coast destinations. But if you've got a snorkel, then your horizons are limitless. However, you are on your own at that point. Originally, the station was owned and operated by London and South Western Railway with the snappy acronym of L&SWR. No, not really. L&SWR. It opened on the 11th of July 1848 as Waterloo Bridge Station. In 1886, it officially became Waterloo Station, reflecting laziness, because people couldn't be asked to do the whole Waterloo Bridge what's-it thingy. The station grew in the most higgledy-piggledy manner possible, which seems to be the way of the Victorians. The original station of 1848 became known as the Central Station, and as other platforms were added, 2 further independent stations within the station developed, some with duplicate platform numbers, their own ticket offices, and taxi ranks. These 2 added stations were nicknamed Cyprus in 1878 for the suburban services, and the Khartoum in 1885 for the Windsor line. There was even a strange little used railway that crossed the main concourse, surely causing havoc. But wouldn't you just love it still to be there? I know I would. By 1897, there were also 3 separate and separately owned underground stations named Waterloo, which were either underground or close by. And let's just not forget the adjacent Necropolis Company Station. It was generally utter confusion all round, being the butt of writers and music hall comics. You can see what's coming, can't you? Yep, in 1899, L&SWR decided on a total rebuild. This was done over an extended period, lasting blinking years. Don't talk to me about station upgrades. Nuisance or no nuisance, it was finally opened in 1922 with 21 platforms and a concourse nearly 800 feet long. The new station included a stained glass window surrounded by a frieze listing the counties served by the railway. This apparently still survives. We must find it. The main pedestrian entrance is the Victoria Arch, also drearily known by the utilitarian Exit 5. Not so drearily, it commemorates the company staff who were killed during the 2 world wars. Damage to the station during World War II was extensive. Despite this, there was no significant changes to the layout. They just got out their war spirit and a cuppa building anew. Forgotten about the Necropolis Company station? No? Well, this was a curious railway station. A spur of Waterloo built for the express, bit of an ironic pun here, express purpose of taking coffins and mourners to Brookwood Cemetery in Surrey. Brookwood is the largest burial ground in the UK. The necropolis opened in 1854 and survived the rebuild of 1899. It is still part visible at 121 Westminster Bridge Road, but was put out of action by a World War II bomb in 1941, remaining that way. Just awfully out of action. Cuppa, anyone? So, fast-tracking the station's history, I can tell you under the 1923 Grouping Act that was intended to rationalise 120 loss-making railway companies with government control. Waterloo passed as Southern Railway. Nationalisation came about in 1948 under British Rail. In 1994, with the privatisation of British Rail, the ownership and management moved to Railtrack and finally Network Rail in 2002. Platforms 20 and 21 were lost to Waterloo International Railway Station in 2004, which took passengers to Paris and Brussels using the Eurostar service. By November 2007, this service to the continent had moved to London St Pancras. My photo that represents W for Waterloo looks from the Eurostar tiny concourse up at the main station with its typical lattice ironwork roof. Today, the old international platforms 20 to 24 lie idle and unused. Waterloo Station is effectively named after the Battle of Waterloo. The French, led by Napoleon, lost that battle. When the station was chosen as the British terminus for the Eurostar service in 1998, a 33-year-old right-wing Parisian councillor, Florent Longpy, wrote to the then British Prime Minister Tony Blair requesting that the station be renamed. Monsieur Longpy feared it would upset French travellers, but it was merely his Waterloo, as he was ignored by the politicians and ridiculed by the British press, as is their wont. If Whitehall rejected the suggestion, Florent, I feel I know him already, proposed the terminus in Paris to be renamed Fontenoy after a hugely forgotten battle in Belgium, where, strangely enough, the British saw defeat at the hands of the French in 1745. The word hoax jumps to mind, but a search threw up an archive in the New York Times dated the 15th of November 1998, thus appearing to authenticate the tale. Anyway, back to the facts. As a major transport interchange, Waterloo today comprises of London Waterloo, Waterloo East, the Underground, which includes Waterloo and the City Line to Bank, known informally as the Drain. And that's true. There are also a bunch of bus stops, all serviced by an absolute ton of buses, consisting of about 21 routes, not including the night buses. You have to know what you're about with the buses. I'll be bound. For a ton of years, until February 2009, there was a British Transport police station at Waterloo, just by the Victoria Arch. It contained 3 custody cells, and until the late 1990s, over 40 plods operated from it. I'd like to have seen the day they all stopped in for a cuppa. It closed when the Eurostar moved across London to St Pancras. A large 4-faced clock hangs in the middle of the main concourse. Meeting under the clock is a traditional rendezvous. That'll keep the French jolly. Especially as they are rendezvousing these days at St Pancras. This is located in the abdominal cavity, a tad below the stomach, and just above and slightly to the east of the duodenum, or northeast, central London, just to the right of the Euston Station. As my rendezvous collides with the end, I will say, in a jolly happy, I'm just off to the coast for a dip kind of way, this has been my W for Waterloo Station. Has anyone seen my train? Not liked my video yet? Yes, do it now, please. Yes, like it now. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel, and that is a wondrous thing. Subscribing. Yes, please subscribe now. There's always something fabulous on Pinkietessa.com.
Yeah.